Well, I am about 24 hours away from my trip down to New Orleans. And this is going to be my first time going down there as a photographer, videographer, documentarian, a lot of different roles that I'm playing. And so rather than just packing a suitcase full of clothes and maybe a phone and some chargers and stuff like that, it's actually become quite the exercise to figure out what from this studio that I'm sitting in am I going to bring with me. And it's been largely dependent upon what I'm planning to do. And I've also had to make some compromises because I'm not made of money. And when I'm going down there to do a unpaid gig, so to speak, I kind of have to work with what I got. So I don't have the latest, greatest, or the shotgun mic for the camera. So I'm going to have to work off of these DJIs, which I'll get to in a second. But these are fine. They work just fine. So there's things like that. I could have bought some more batteries, certainly gotten some more lenses, some filters, all that fun stuff. But I'm just going with what I got. I just watched the video and I realized I never said why I was bringing all this stuff down to Louisiana. Simply put, there's a bunch of events going on. First event is this coming weekend, and I wanted to be able to do interviews at a table and also be able to do one-on-one interviews with people at the various stations. Cooking festival, not kind of, it is a cooking festival. And then I also want to get some aerial footage of the estate where the festivals are being conducted. The second thing that I wanted to do was take a ton of B-roll footage for my channel, The Rainy Cajun, that I do with my cousin David. We just didn't have a whole lot of B-roll content that we can mix in to our episodes, and what was out there was either dated or just not really what we needed. So I said, well, we have the technology, we have the cameras to do it, so let's go and do it. And so that'll be part of it. If I can squeeze in some interviews, there's a lot of places that I want to go and talk to the people that we've already had on the Rainy Cajun show. So I'm going to try and get that done. And then lastly, and this is more on a personal level, I want to interview a lot of my family members. They're all cutting up there, and we've got some brothers and sisters that are still around, and aunts and uncles of mine that I want to be able to have them just come in us and talk about things, and something to just pass down to other generations. So I'll probably never see the light of day, but it's still something that's important to me to shoot. So enjoy the video. If you have any questions, hit them down below. And if you like the video at all, please click like and subscribe, as I'm obligated to tell you or ask you. And also head over to the Rainy Cajun channel and see what we can do when we're just shooting everything in studio. It's a lot of fun, and if you've ever wanted to learn about some of the things that go on in Louisiana, that's the place to go. All right, enjoy. So then I had to prioritize what it was that I needed. And the easiest way to think about it is like, well, what do you need in your studio, right? Well, obviously a camera. Here's my camera that I am talking to you on, but this is a Sony FX30. This is my baby. This is the one that I've been running for about 8 months now. I love it. It's a great camera. It takes great video. Certainly for what I need it for, it is perfect. It is the entry-level cameras for Sony's, what they call their cinema line, but I don't really care because I think it takes amazing quality video, as evidenced by what you see here. So back to this, you can see there's my transmitter for my audio, and then the camera itself is actually sitting on a gimbal. You can ignore all the other garbage that's in there. But this part right here, this is a DJI, another DJI product. This is their RS3 mini gimbal. And so for the most part, the camera will reside on this gimbal for the duration of the trip. Not always, but I think for a vast majority of it. Oh, also this lens that I'm using here, this is a Sigma 16 millimeter lens that is right now, it's stepped up a little bit to, where are we at on that one? That's f2.2. I mainly did that for depth of field, but that is that's the lens. And then I've got on there is a newer black diffusion filter at 1 power. So I can show you how that works. It's pretty straightforward. So I have this lens. I've got, this is another lens. This is a Sigma 23 millimeter. This one also goes to f1.4 on the aperture. And it's printed, yeah, it is. Oh, that says made in Japan. There it is. So you can see 23 millimeter, 1.4, and the ring size is 52. Ring diameter is 52 millimeter. So I've got those 2 lenses. And then, believe it or not, I have additional lenses back there. And that's my main camera on the DJI RS3 Mini gimbal. And I think this will do well for me. And I need more practice with this thing anyway, because they're not cheap. Gimbals are not cheap. And there's a lot of people who make arguments like, oh, if you practice more, you'd have more steady hands and things like that. And they're absolutely right. But naturally, my hands they're just not as stable as I need them to be. And I've seen when I try and handhold my FX30, it's like I've had too much caffeine. So even with the stabilization on and everything, it just didn't look good. So I've got that camera. Of course, I was just broadcasting here. This is my iPhone, again, on its own gimbal. And what does a gimbal do if you haven't had any experience with these? It just keeps the camera steady. See? I can do this with it. Keeps it nice and steady. It has a little joystick here so you can aim it up and down. All right. It'll even do it has like shots here. I can switch to it. So this is what it sees right now. I can switch a mode here. The other gimbal does this too. And you can do like a shot like that. That's one of the gimbal features. It's got a lot of features. This will go vertical mode. I can go to horizontal mode. It's really cool, and you can see if I lock it in place, I wanted to do a nice tracking shot, for instance. I could do that real easy with it. So this will be one of the other cameras that I bring, my iPhone, with the Osmo 6 gimbal from another product from DJI. And then, where is it? It's around here. Then I've got these little cameras from Insta360. These are called Link cameras, and they're actually sold as web cameras. But these guys work great on the road. First of all, you can see how small it is. And here's my hand, you can see, right? It's pretty tiny. But it also has a pan, and then it also has a tilt motor in it as well. So and then it's got optical zoom. So what's really cool about this is that I can use this as a camera within Ecamm. Ecamm's the software I use to do all of my video. I can set this up as a camera in Ecamm, and so I could have one of these. If I'm doing an interview, for instance, I could have one of these aimed at the guest and then one aimed at me, and they do 4K, and they look pretty dang good for being such a small camera. So this is so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras for the. Oh, sorry, there's a fifth, and that's this guy here. So here is yet another DJI product. I swear I don't work for DJI. This has not been sponsored by them, but hey guys, it would be really cool considering how much of your gear I own. This is the Air 3. I think this drone is amazing. You know, first of all, you can see how compact it gets. And I've got a window right here. You can see what I'm doing when I'm talking. So this is, you can see I can flip out front. These aren't wings, they're just pods. And then I can flip out the rear here. And now what I have is a drone with this is a 4K camera. It's actually got, you can see there's 2 windows on here. It has cameras. One zoomed in, the other one is normal wide angle. And this, I plan to use the hell out of this thing. I've got what they call the Fly More combo for this model, which includes an additional 2 batteries and then a charger. and I'm gonna fly the hell out of this thing because there's so much stuff that you could take video footage of in Louisiana that it's hard to truly recognize some of the beauty when you're down at ground level. Because let's face it, when you're in the marsh, you can see things, but if you get up and look at the marsh from high above, you can see some stuff that, from a vantage point, that you'd never be able to see anywhere else. So we're at 5 cameras. They all have different qualities about them that make them useful for different things. So iPhone 14, 2 link cameras from Insta360, the Sony FX30 with the Sigma lens. So this is a 16. I've got a 23, a 56, and a 30 millimeter lens, all down to f1.4. If I can't get the shot, it's my own fault. That's the way I look at it. No pun intended. That's the way I look at it. So there's that. Now the audio part. So you got a little bit of a preview of that. So I'm going to switch over to the iPhone again. And this is me talking. Let me switch here on this little guy here. This is the DJI R1 microphone. And you can see I've got it clamped. It's kind of magnetically clamped, this shirt here. I like this because of the audio quality. It's good. Now, when you compare it to something like the RE20, there's no comparison, but a size difference between the two you can see. So this is the best that I've got to work with for have a case that they come with. Receiver's up here. It's currently attached to the camera. And then it comes with this really cool case. Now the R2 that model that just came out, very similar. A lot of people said, well, it's got this great little thing on the front that keeps this from opening. You know what, guys? I've never had this thing open accidentally on me. Maybe I haven't flicked mine open and closed enough. I don't have that fidget spinner syndrome thing going. I have no idea. But in any case, you can see there's some little metal probes down there. This is a charging case. And so this case actually adds additional life to your microphone. So you drop in your transmitter and your receiver. There's another transmitter right there. And this allows me to do interviews. So I have 1 transmitter, 2 transmitters, and then the receiver. So for audio, this is going to be the bulk of what I have. Now, I am thinking about getting a separate lavalier attachment. You can see right there, the black hole there. That is, you can plug in an external microphone. The silver part above is actually the microphone on this transmitter, but you can plug in right there and then have a lavalier mic, which just basically looks like a little button that you clamp to your shirt. But it's much lighter weight, and the thing that I don't like about this setup is that when you are, here we aim down here, you can see it's not so I'm wearing all black, so it's not so obvious here, but if you're wearing just a single t-shirt, it's going to start to pull things down. So I did figure out a way to solve these lanyards, right? So this one is from a pretty popular game company that has a plumber as a mascot. So what I ended up doing is I put at the end of this lanyard this little hook. That's it. And the way it works, just give me a second here, I'm gonna demonstrate for you. See on the back of this, let me see, I gotta get a little bit closer. On the back here, right, you got this little flip up part. So you flip up, you slide this ring through, and you slide it all the way through. Might have to lift up the handle, but now what you've got is a microphone that's not hanging on your shirt. It's hanging off the lanyard. And then if you come, for some reason this doesn't look so dorky to people, I don't know, but you can do this, right? And now what you have is something that's detached from your body, and then you would obviously just adjust this as necessary to get the microphone to the level where you wanted it. It's almost a choker at this point. But so yeah, anyway, that's how we're going to get around hanging this thing off of people, because it's kind of a pain in the ass and it doesn't look all that great. So the little trade show lanyards, I think this was used for the card key to get into the building, but trade show lanyards work great. So you just get one of these little rings, you attach it to the end of the lanyard, and now you have a holder. Oh, that's nice. I didn't even notice that. And because it's also metal, it'll become one with the magnet, although I wouldn't recommend it. Just loop it on. That way you can give it to a guest, they put it on, you test it, make sure you can hear them up, and then you're off to the races. So, little tip for you there. That sound. One thing I failed to mention was this guy in the frame. This is my Electro Voice RE20. This is my baby, and this is what I use in all of my podcasts when I'm here in the studio. And it pained me to think about the fact that I'm not going to be able to bring this down to Louisiana with me because of a lot of factors, weight being the major one. But also, frankly, I don't want this thing getting damaged. I know they take a beating, and if you don't personally own it, it's easy to sling microphones around, but this is a significant investment for me for the studio, so it's going to stay behind, and I'll just be talking on the DJI mics for that. So, all right, back to it. Next thing is lighting. Clearly, I have a lot of lights going on in the studio. I'm not even going to try and count right now. But I looked at the weather forecast because some of this will be done outdoor. For the purposes of doing interviews, and mainly interviews, I want to have constant light sources available to me that allow me to set my color temperature and allow me to do things that a sun that's going through the sky over the course of the day is going to mess with. So I needed something that could overpower that to an extent. And so I have these, you can see them up here, these Elgato key lights. This is a smaller one. I've got a bigger one over there. Don't mind the foam board, but that's how I direct the light right now. Elgato would be really cool if you could get one of those egg crate grids to attach to these things, man. I swear, we have to go to third parties. We have to go to one of your competitors to get something that fits these lights. Just heads up. I know you guys are busy doing teleprompter crap now, but anyway. So what I did is I took one of them and I put it in the bag here. So you can see I've got one of the key lights that I'll use for controlling light wherever I am, right? Basically, wherever I am. So the only problem with the key lights when you're on the road is that they require Wi-Fi, and there's no way to really manually set them. So that should be an interesting challenge. If it comes to a point where I literally have no control over that, I may have to get something when I'm on the road, but I'm hoping that's not the case. I don't want to spend any more money than I have to. These key lights work great where you have Wi-Fi in a studio, but once you get on the road, obviously you need something that you can control from a little back panel, and then also, if possible, a battery. A battery would be great. So I've got those lights. I've also got this light. This is, I believe it's called the Litra from Logitech. I bought these originally for my laptop. You can see it's got a little clamp up there, and that's designed to clamp to the top of your top screen. I think I'm gonna bring those, or bring one of them. I've got another one over there. I think I'm gonna bring one, and the reason for that is I think if anything, it might act as a good fill light. If I can get the key light situation going, then that'll be a good fill light. And they get really bright, as you can see there. And then one last thing that I'm bringing for lighting is something that just gives an accent, right? Sometimes you want to have a little bit of color in your scene, and if you're using these lights that essentially run the Kelvin spectrum for white light, you would like to have some color. And obviously I've got color going on behind me, And I want to be able to have at least some semblance of that wherever I'm going. So I got one of these. It's in its plastic bag right now, and I'm not going to take it out because it's a pain in the butt to take it out and put it back in. But this, it's a light, battery operated from Neewer. I forget the model number for this one, but you can see it here. So it's about, I don't know, I would say this somewhere between 8 and 10 inches, somewhere around there. And what's cool about this light is, obviously, let me turn it on here. You can see it's a full RGB light, right? So I can just tap the colors. There's actually on the back there, might be easier to see on the other camera. You can tap those colors back there, and you can also dial in very specific values. Now they have an app as well for this one. I don't know if I'm going to use that. Well, I don't know if I can use that, to be honest with you. But what's cool about, all right, so look at the light here, right? So one of the things I said I had on the camera was a black diffusion filter. So let's look at this here. See that glow? See here? See that? That is from black diffusion filter that I have installed on this camera. So it adds glow effects. If I go, I'll turn this real quick. See back there, you see the accent light here. See, it's got that glow around it. And if I take this off, I'm gonna try and do this in real time, so you can see the difference. See the difference? Look at that. I'm gonna slowly move this up. Oh, slowly move it up. Look at the, right? So these black diffusion, like I said, this is number 1 power black diffusion. I like these a lot because they soften the image without really mucking with the colors too much. And it provides some nice glow. So anyway, got this light, and this will be coming along. Like I said, it's battery operated. It is magnetic. It also has on the bottom a 1/4-20 hole. So if you have a tripod, you can mount this to a tripod. As a matter of fact, for what I'm bringing, I guess this kind of all ties into the same discussion, but I'm bringing a crap ton of, well, not a crap ton, I'm bringing a lot of tripods with me. I'm staring at 3 of them right now, actually. So from very, very tense to very basic. So if I go back here, you can see that the gimbal FX30 here is on this iFootage tripod. I love this tripod. Love it. I think it's great. It's rock freaking solid. It's almost 100% metal construction. I think just these rubber grips right here, and then the top part here that pops off is plastic. But aside from that, this thing is great. And now that I've removed the RE20 from my gear that I'm bringing with me, this is now one of the heavier items. And it's just a tripod, but it works great. So I've got that. I've got the tripod that comes with the DJI gimbal. How can I do this? Well, here I can do this. You can see that the iPhone gimbal is on a tripod as well. And then I've got another one. And then I also have a desk mount clamp that allows me to clamp stuff onto, it's got an quarter inch 20. Yeah, it's something you can screw into, so it's perfect for mounting the light or something along those lines. So that's my lighting setup. Sound, yes. I'm really gonna miss the RE20. I keep saying that, but this is such a great microphone, but the other mic is what I've got to work with for this trip. So then the strategy for putting this all together, if you're traveling and you're a cheap ass like me, you get the cheapest ticket possible, but that also puts you in a little bit of a conundrum when it comes to what you can bring on the airplane and what you're going to have to check. So I've got 3 bags, 2 I'm bringing on the airplane, hopefully, and 1 that I'm definitely checking. So the one that I'm checking has got clothes. It's got it's got another tripod in it, but it's a big tripod. just barely collapses down to the extent of the suitcase. I've got my extension cords, power cords, that kind of stuff. So that's gonna be checked no matter what. So anything of any real value there can be replaced pretty easily and won't mess up my trip. Hey, look, I can go for days wearing the same thing. I shouldn't, but I'm also gonna be staying at a relative's house and there's a washer dryer. So if I need to wear the same outfit for a few days, I'm okay with that. Brushing my teeth might be a different issue. But anyway, that's bag getting checked. Now, what am I bringing on the airplane? Everything else that's got any value to it, and then it goes by order of importance. So the camera I'm talking to you on, my laptop, which I need to be able to record and also be able to do really any kind of broadcasting with. That's got to go, and that's this guy back here. I don't know if you can see it. It looks blue, but it's a MacBook Pro, one of the older Intel MacBook Pros. And so that's going in there. My drone is going to go in this backpack here. And so drone plus camera, and you can see backpack actually can fit quite a bit of stuff. That won't be an issue. So I have to fit that drone bag and that camera bag into that backpack, and that's going to go under my feet. And again, this is the stuff that's probably got the most value to me, but in terms of what I'm trying to accomplish on this trip, this is super important. So then everything else that I still want to carry on and protect is going to go into this little roller bag suitcase here. Now, I got this at duty free at Incheon Airport in South Korea a long time ago, 12 plus years ago. And things held up. It's, well, I'm sure at some point I'll beat it up to the point where it won't work anymore. But this, you see, I've got my Elgato key light in there. And then what I'm going to put in here is everything else that can't fit in my backpack. And so that includes my little bag that I was showing you earlier, this guy here. And then I've got another one of those bags here. And I've got some clamps, another tripod. There's that that I was talking about that I would mount to a table. That's also be mounted to a pole. That particular clamp was designed to be mounted either or. So that's going to go there. So the two of those will go. So I have everything organized this way for a reason. Everything like clothes, toiletries, and all the stuff that is really of insignificant value or can be replaced easily, or I won't cry if it's broken or lost or stolen, is going to go in the big bag that gets checked into the aircraft's belly. The second bag, the one from the duty-free shop in Incheon, that one is going to contain my next level of equipment. That means the things that I really want to have on this shoot, and I want to make sure that they make it safely and they don't get broken, obviously don't get lost or stolen. That's going to go into that bag. So that bag's got a little bit of a harder side to it, and it should be able to withstand things if in the event it needs to be checked. And I'll come back to that in a second. And then the last thing, the backpack is going to have all my valuable stuff. This is stuff that drone, the camera, anything that would prevent me from, and my laptop, anything that would prevent me from getting this work done is going to go in that bag. And everything else will go into the Johnny Walker Incheon bag. I gotta give it a better name than that. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. So why am I doing it this way with the two carry-ons? Well, it's quite simple. I'm on a cheap ticket, and if you're traveling cheap, if you're not first class or you're not premium economy, you're gonna be boarding towards the end of the groups. And if, like me, even though I'm flying Alaska, I have no assigned seat, and I won't get an assigned seat until I check in at the airport, which means I'll probably be in a middle seat, and I more than likely won't have access to the overhead bins. That said, I'm going to give it a try. The reason for my mid-level stuff, the stuff that I really want to make sure makes it but I won't be completely bent out of shape. Well, I'll be bent out of shape no matter what. You steal my shit, I'm gonna get mad. If you break it, I'm gonna get mad. But if that bag has to get checked for some reason, then I will check it at the gate, and I get to avoid the fees. Now, we all know this little game, so don't play coy here. You all know that there's a lot of you out there that will bring stuff onto the airplane or attempt to bring it on the airplane, and you're told, I'm sorry, you can't fit this on the airplane for whatever reason, and therefore I'll check it here for you. And guess how much that costs? Yep. So be nice if we could all try and get all our stuff through security, and then the things that don't make it on the plane just get checked for free. But the airlines kind of created this mess for themselves. They said it was for safety. It's not. It's for fuel. Fuel costs a lot of money. The more fuel you have to put on an airplane because the bags are heavier. That's what it boils down to. As a pilot, I would be willing to put money on it. Anyway, so that's my strategy for the baggage. And aside from a few other little knick-knack items, I have a solid state hard drive, Thunderbolt hard drive that I can't pull out right now because it's recording onto at the moment. And then I've got a Caldigit Element hub. If you haven't checked into one of these, it's a powered hub and it's great. It has 4 USB-C/Thunderbolt ports on it, and then, 3, and then it's got 4 USB-A 3.2, I believe Gen 2 connectors on it as well. So it's a fast hub. It's not the cheapest hub out there. I think it's about $200, but worth it. Absolutely worth it. And it's small, it's light, and it saves your butt when you only have 4 ports on your laptop. Some of you only 2. Even if you have 4, you're going to run out of ports real quickly, especially like if one of those is being used to charge the laptop to begin with. Gosh, I think that's it. So this has been, I know it's been long, and I appreciate you sticking through if you watched all the way through. Any products that I have that I want to link to, I'll put on the page. And if you have any specific questions, just ask on YouTube and I'll be more than happy to answer what I know. If you're just getting started, good luck. It's a really fun thing, and it's even more fun when you get paid. But if you're just getting started, this has hopefully been some value to you. So it's the way I'm doing it is I got interviews on Saturday, and then the rest of it's going to be a lot of landscape. Some other interviews, but mostly landscape. Got some family interviews to do. So this is what I'm bringing. And with that, I'll go ahead and end it. And next time I post anything, it'll either be to the Rainy Cajun page or to here to give you an update on how things went down with the trip. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.